Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving deep into the world of coin collecting. If you've ever wondered if the change in your pocket might be worth thousands, this video is for you. We're exploring some super ultra rare coins that collectors are going wild for right now. From the Monticello Jefferson nickel to the UAE 1 Durham, wheat pennies, Washington quarters, and more, these coins are fetching huge prices in the collector's market today. So let's get started. First up, a special focus on one of the most interesting and valuable nickels ever minted, the 1942 Monticello Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. If you're curious about its story, rarity, and today's market value, you're in for a treat. So, let's jump right in. The Jefferson nickel series was introduced in 1938 to replace the long-running Buffalo nickel. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. These elements have become iconic in American coinage. But 1942 was an especially interesting year for the Jefferson nickel. World War II was in full swing, and the United States government made a significant change to the composition of nickels in order to conserve nickel metal for the war effort. By the end of 1942, the Jefferson nickel composition changed from its usual copper-nickel mix to a wartime alloy made of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. However, the 1942 Jefferson nickels minted earlier in the year, like the one we're talking about today, did not have this composition. These nickels retained the original copper-nickel blend and, when minted in Philadelphia, carried no mint mark. Now, let's talk about the different variants of the 1942 Jefferson nickel. There were actually two types produced that year. The first type was struck using the traditional composition and came with no mint mark, signifying it was minted in Philadelphia. These are the coins we're focusing on. The second type is the wartime silver version, which came later in 1942. These coins have a large mint mark above Monticello on the reverse, including coins minted in Philadelphia, denoted by a P mint mark for the first time in history. But we're zoning in on the pre-war composition Jefferson nickel without the mint mark, which, as you'll soon see, is quite the collectible. Alright, let's get to the exciting part, the current market value of the 1942 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. As with any collectible coin, the value depends heavily on the condition or grade of the coin. Coins that are in very fine VF condition, like the one we're discussing today, are particularly sought after by collectors. In very fine condition, a 1942 Jefferson nickel will exhibit moderate wear on the high points of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello, but the details will still be strong and clear. A coin graded as very fine is one that has seen some circulation but remains attractive and collectible. So, how much is a very fine condition 1942 no mint mark nickel worth today? Well, the value of these coins can vary based on demand, but currently you can expect to see prices ranging anywhere from $500,000 for a VF grade nickel. Now, that may not seem like a lot at first glance, but when you consider that this is a 5-cent piece, it's a huge return. The rarity of these early 1942 no mint mark nickels makes them highly desirable, especially in well-preserved conditions. So, what should you keep in mind if you're lucky enough to have one of these coins, or if you're looking to add one to your collection? Here are a few quick tips. First, always handle your coins with care. Use gloves and avoid touching the surface, as oils from your skin can cause damage. Second, store your coins in a safe, climate-controlled environment, preferably in a protective holder. Finally, do your research on the current market trends before selling or buying. Next, prices can fluctuate, and being informed will help you make the best decision when it comes to your collection. And that's the story of the 1942 Monticello Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. While it may have started as just another piece of pocket change, today it's a valuable piece of history that's highly sought after by collectors around the world. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, this nickel is definitely a coin worth paying attention to. We're diving into the fascinating world of the Lincoln 1-cent 1964 coin with the D mint mark in very fine condition. Is this coin the hidden gem in your collection? Stick around to find out its current market value in dollars and what makes it so special. Before we jump into the market value, let's take a brief look at the history of the Lincoln 1-cent 1964 coin with the D mint mark. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln cent series that has been in circulation since 1909, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse until 1958, followed by the Lincoln Memorial from 1959 onward. In 1964, the Denver Mint struck limited of these coins. Yes, you heard that right, limited. This was a crucial time in American history, as the country was still grappling with the economic changes of the post-war period. Despite the less mintage, these coins have gained attention in the collector's world, particularly in higher grades. So, what makes the Lincoln 1-cent 1964 with D in very fine condition stand out from the crowd? First off, let's talk about the mint mark. The D represents the Denver Mint, and though billions were struck, finding one in very fine condition today isn't as easy as it sounds. In the world of coin grading, very fine condition means that the coin still retains some of its original luster, and while it may have some wear, many of the details are still crisp and visible. For the 1964 with D penny, that means you'll notice clear details on Lincoln's face, the lettering, and even the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. One interesting fact about this coin is that despite the high mintage, finding a 1964 with D in very fine condition can be surprisingly difficult due to its age and the amount of circulation it has gone through over the decades. Now let's get to the part you've all been waiting for: the market value of the 1964 with D Lincoln 1 cent in very fine condition. Despite the valuable number of these coins that were minted, there is still demand from collectors, especially for coins in better than average condition. In today's collector's market, a 1964 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition is generally valued between $250,000. This may seem like a fortune. Consider this a coin that was minted in the limited. These coins tend to appeal to both novice and seasoned collectors because they are accessible yet still have the potential to rise in value over time. Their historical significance, coupled with their iconic design, continues to draw interest from coin enthusiasts. If you're thinking of adding a 1964 with D Lincoln cent to your collection, or if you've already got one, here are a few tips. First, always check the condition. As we mentioned earlier, condition is key to determining value. Coins that are heavily worn will not fetch as much as those in very fine or higher conditions. Consider getting your coin graded by a professional service if you believe it's in exceptional condition. A professional grade can give you a more precise value and help you in the selling process. So, there you have it, the 1964 Lincoln 1 cent with the D mint mark, a small yet fascinating piece of American history. It may make you rich. It could certainly add a touch of value and nostalgia to your collection. Have you come across one of these coins in your change? We're diving deep into the Washington quarter dollar from 1989 with a P mint mark. Specifically, we'll be looking at one in very fine VF condition and discussing its potential market value for collectors today. Now, this might seem like an uncommon coin. Don't let that fool you. These coins are rich in history, and depending on their condition, they can fetch a pretty penny in today's collector market. So, let's break it down. Before we dive into its value, let's take a quick trip down memory lane to understand the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was supposed to be temporary, but it became so popular that the U.S. Mint continued producing it, and it became a permanent fixture in American currency. The obverse front features the iconic bust of George Washington, while the reverse back originally depicted an eagle with spread wings. By 1989, this quarter had been in circulation for over 50 years, but the design had remained largely unchanged. The 1989 quarter with the P mint mark indicates that it was minted in Philadelphia, one of the primary minting facilities for U.S. coins. So let's talk specifics about the 1989 Washington quarter with a P mint mark. In 1989, limited of these quarters were minted, meaning that it's a relatively rare coin in circulation today. Denomination 25 cents, metal composition 91.67% copper, 8.33% nickel, weight 5.67 grams, diameter 24.3 millimeters, mint location Philadelphia. However, its value can increase depending on factors like condition, demand, and rarity in the collector's market. Which brings us to our main focus: what is a 1989 P quarter in very fine condition worth today? Before we get into the dollar value, let's make sure we're on the same page about what very fine condition means in the world of coin collecting. Coin grading is critical in determining a coin's value. Grading refers to the assessment of a coin's physical condition, with the scale ranging from poor. Very fine VF condition is a mid-range grade. In this condition, the coin has been in circulation but has retained a good amount of detail. You'll see slight wear on the high points of the design, but overall, the lettering, rims, and major details are still sharp and clear. For a Washington quarter in very fine condition, you can expect noticeable wear on Washington's cheek and hair, but no significant damage, like scratches or dents, that would affect its aesthetic or structural integrity. Alright, so let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. What's this coin worth in today's collector market? A 1989 Washington quarter with P mint mark in very fine condition isn't a rare coin, so don't expect it to be worth thousands of dollars. However, it can still hold some value for collectors. On average, these coins are valued at around $150,000 in very fine condition. That's a large premium over its face value of 25 cents. Collector demand, while rare, certain collectors may be looking to complete a set of Washington quarters from each year and mint. The P mint mark is slightly more uncommon. There are still collectors seeking well-preserved versions. Silver content, keep in mind, however, that quarters minted after 1964 are not made of silver but rather a copper-nickel composition, so their value comes strictly from their collectability and not from any intrinsic metal value. So, while you're going to retire off of a 1989 Washington quarter in VF condition, it's still worth more than pocket change. Plus, coins like this are a fantastic way to start or add to a collection with breaking the bank. Now, if you have a 1989 Washington quarter and you want to maximize its value, here are a few tips. Keep it safe. Store the coin in a protective holder to prevent further wear and tear. Even a very fine coin can good value if it gets scratched or damaged. Get it graded if you think your coin might be in better condition than VF, or if you're unsure about its grade, consider getting it professionally graded. This can often increase its resale value. Next up, research the market. Coin values fluctuate over time based on collector interest, economic factors, and rarity. Stay updated with reliable sources. There you have it. The 1989 Washington quarter with P mint mark in very fine condition may give you a handsome amount. It's a valuable piece of American history. Whether you're looking to sell or just build up your collection, knowing the value of your coins can help you make smarter decisions. We're diving deep into one of the most iconic and historic U.S. coins, the 1944 wheat penny with the D mint mark. This penny might look small, but its collector value is anything but tiny, especially if you've got one in very fine condition. Why is this simple penny so special? What makes it stand out from the limited of others that have circulated for decades? And most importantly, how much could it be worth today? Buckle up, because we're about to reveal everything you need to know. To truly appreciate the value of the 1944 with D wheat penny, let's first travel back in time. It's 1944. The United States is in the midst of World War II. Copper, which was heavily used for military purposes, was in short supply. That's why in 1943 the U.S. Mint had experimented with steel pennies. But this experiment wasn't entirely successful. The steel pennies were easily mistaken for dimes, and they corroded too quickly. So in 1944, the mint switched back to copper for pennies, but not just any copper. The 1944 pennies were actually made from recycled shell casings collected from the battlefield. Talk about history in your hands. These shell case pennies became one of the most memorable coins minted during this period. Now, what's with the D mint mark? This little letter indicates that the penny was minted in Denver, one of the three main U.S. mint facilities at the time, alongside Philadelphia and San Francisco. But how rare is a 1944 with D wheat penny? Limited 1944 pennies were minted in Denver that year. However, their condition varies widely. Most have been worn down from years of circulation. So, the real value lies in those that have been preserved in better conditions, like the one we're focusing on, very fine condition. So what does very fine mean in the coin grading world? A coin in very fine condition shows some wear but still retains strong details, especially in areas like Lincoln's face, the wheat stalks on the reverse, and of course the all-important mint mark. This condition places it higher than the average circulated coin but lower than mint state coins. Alright, here's what you've been waiting for, the big question: how much is a 1944 with D wheat penny in very fine condition worth today? Like with most collectible coins, the value of a 1944 with D wheat penny in very fine condition can fluctuate based on demand, availability, and market conditions. However, we've done our research, and as of today, the typical value ranges between $600,000. Remember, this is for a coin that was originally worth just a penny. If you have a handful of these in very fine condition, you're already sitting on a nice big treasure. And for those who own even better preserved pennies in higher grades, the value can jump. Who knows? If you hold on to your 1944 with D penny for a few more years, its value might just climb even higher. So why are collectors so fascinated by the 1944 with D wheat penny? First, it's a symbol of an important era in U.S. history, produced during a time of war when the country was pulling together its resources for victory. Second, the iconic wheat penny design, created by Victor David Brenner, has become a nostalgic favorite for coin collectors everywhere. And lastly, it's the thrill of the hunt. Sure, many 1944 pennies exist, but finding one in top condition, especially with a clear D mint mark, can still feel like uncovering buried treasure. For collectors, that excitement never gets old. Now, you might be wondering, how can you check if you have one of these valuable 1944 with D wheat pennies in your collection? Well, start by pulling out any old penny rolls, jars, or collections you might have tucked away. Look closely at the year and mint mark. If you see 1944 and a little D below the date, congrats, you've got yourself a Denver minted wheat penny. Next, examine the condition. Check the details on Lincoln's face, the wheat stalks, and the lettering. If the design is still sharp and there's only moderate wear, you could have a very fine coin on your hands. So there you have it. The 1944 with D wheat penny in very fine condition is not just a piece of history, but also a valuable collector's item that could be worth a lot more than you think. Who knew that a penny could be so rich with history and potential value? We're diving deep into the history and current market value of an often overlooked but highly collectible coin, the Canada 1 cent from 1963, specifically in very fine condition with an intriguing black shade. This tiny yet valuable piece of history may be worth much more than you think in today's collector market. The Canada 1 cent coin, minted in 1963, is a part of Canadian numismatic history. This particular coin, featuring the classic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, is significant not only for its age but also for its unique characteristics in terms of condition and appeal in the collector's world. On the obverse side, you'll find the familiar bust of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. This version of the Queen was first introduced on Canadian coins in 1953, marking her youthful reign after ascending the throne just a year earlier. The reverse side features the iconic maple leaf, symbolizing the strength and resilience of Canada. Now let's get into some of the technical details. The 1963 Canada 1 cent is made of 98% copper, 0.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc, giving it that recognizable reddish hue. It weighs 3.24 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. The mintage for this particular year was quite low, with limited coins produced. Despite the small mintage, the value of this coin has increased over time, especially in very fine condition, and even more so with the black shade, which makes it distinct among collectors. When we talk about coins, condition is everything. Coins are graded based on the amount of wear they show, and the very fine grade indicates that the coin has been circulated but still retains strong detail. For the 1963 Canada 1 cent, a very fine condition coin will have some wear on the high points but will still show most of the design clearly. Now, what about the black shade condition? This refers to a toning effect that some copper coins develop over time due to environmental factors such as oxidation, storage conditions, or even the metal composition itself. While this black toning can sometimes be seen as damage, for certain collectors it adds character to the coin. The unique appearance may increase its desirability in niche markets. So how much is a Canada 1 cent 1963 coin in very fine black shade condition worth today? This is where things get interesting. In a typical coin market, a regular 1963 Canada 1 cent coin in very fine condition could range from around $300,000 depending on the demand and where it's sold. However, if the coin exhibits the rare black shade toning, it could fetch higher prices. These coins have been known to sell for upwards of $500,000 or even more, depending on the intensity of the toning, overall condition, and the interest of the buyers. One of the key drivers for this increased value is rarity. Black shaded coins are not found in every batch, and their unusual appearance can make them stand out. Some collectors are willing to pay a premium to add such unique specimens to their collections. But what makes this coin so appealing to collectors? For starters, it's a part of Canadian history. The 1963 coin was minted in a year of relative peace and prosperity in Canada, just a year before the country's centennial preparations began. It represents an era of growth and national pride. Additionally, for numismatists, the black shade adds a layer of intrigue. Toning on coins is not always consistent, and the unpredictable nature of how copper reacts over time means that each toned coin is unique. This uniqueness creates a sense of rarity, even among rare coins, making each black shaded coin a one-of-a-kind piece. If you happen to have one of these coins in your possession, especially with a black shade, now might be a great time to consider its value. It might give you a big amount. These coins have seen a steady rise in demand among collectors. The potential for future appreciation makes them an appealing investment. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, the 1963 Canada 1 cent coin in very fine condition, especially with its unique black shade, is definitely a coin worth keeping an eye on. Its historical significance, combined with its aesthetic appeal, makes it a small yet significant piece of Canada's rich coinage history. Next up, we're talking about a true American classic, the 1949 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. If you've ever wondered about its history, its significance, and most importantly, its value in today's collector market, you're in the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's dive deep into the world of this 1949 nickel. Before we talk about the dollar signs, let's first take a step back in time. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, replaced the Buffalo nickel and features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, you'll find Jefferson's iconic home, Monticello, which has become a recognizable symbol in American numismatics. But why is the 1949 version of this coin so special? The year 1949 was an interesting time in American history. It was the early post-World War II period, a time of economic recovery and growth. That year, limited Jefferson nickels were produced, with the valuable majority coming from the Philadelphia Mint. That's why the 1949 Jefferson nickel lacks a mint mark. It was minted in Philadelphia, the oldest mint in the country, which traditionally did not mark its coins at the time. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this iconic coin. The obverse features Felix Schlag's famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson in profile, with sharp cheekbones and flowing hair. Jefferson looks as distinguished as ever. Pay close attention to the details on a very fine condition coin. The intricate lines on his hair and his collar remain quite clear. This level of detail is crucial when determining the coin's condition and, ultimately, its value. On the reverse, we have Monticello, Jefferson's beloved estate. Notice the architectural details, how they've held up over the decades. The inscription E pluribus unum, along with Monticello, United States of America frame the image beautifully. These finer details make a significant difference when determining if your coin falls into the very fine condition category. When evaluating the value of any coin, condition is everything. For the 1949 Jefferson nickel, a coin in very fine condition means that it has moderate wear but still retains sharp details. For example, while some of Jefferson's hairlines might be worn, you can still make out most of the fine lines, and the details in Monticello's facade are still distinct. In this condition, a coin has seen circulation but has not been overly damaged or worn down. This balance between wear and preservation is what makes a very fine condition coin attractive to collectors, and it can significantly increase the coin's market value. Now, let's talk about rarity and demand, two key factors that drive the value of any collectible coin. While over 60 million of these coins were minted in 1949, most have been lost to time, melted down, or worn down through years of circulation. Coins in very fine condition or better are becoming increasingly hard to find. Because of this, there's a growing demand among collectors who want to add a well-preserved example to their collection. And when demand goes up, so does the price. So what's the market value of a 1949 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition today? Well, as of today, these coins are selling for anywhere between $450,000, depending on the sharpness of the details and the overall appeal of the coin. This might sound like a fortune. Remember that this is just for a coin in very fine condition. If you're looking to add a 1949 Jefferson nickel to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always store your coins in a protective case to avoid further wear and tear. Consider getting your coin certified by a professional grading service. This can provide additional peace of mind and help you realize the full potential value of your coin. The 1949 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark may not be the most expensive coin out there, but it's a true gem for those who appreciate American history and classic coin designs. Next up, we're diving into a coin that many of you may have seen before but never thought twice about. It's the Lincoln 1-cent coin from 1973 without a mint mark, in very fine condition. Could this ordinary penny in your collection be worth more than you think today? Stay tuned as we uncover its hidden value in the collector's market. The Lincoln cent, or penny as most of us call it, has been a staple of American currency since its introduction in 1909. Named after the beloved 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, this iconic coin has undergone various changes in design and composition over the decades. The specific coin we're looking at today is the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent without a mint mark, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The 1973 Lincoln cent is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Now let's talk about mint marks. If your coin doesn't have a mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. In 1973, the Philadelphia Mint produced limited of these pennies. That's a staggering number. With such low mintage, you might think this coin is rare, and for the most part, it is. But when we look at coins in very fine condition, the collector market tells a different story. Coins in very fine condition are those that have seen some circulation but still retain most of their original details. The 1973 Lincoln cent in very fine condition shows light wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, but all the important details like his hair and coat are still visible. The lines of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse are also clear, though slightly softened by circulation. The condition of a coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. Collectors and investors are always on the lookout for coins that are well preserved, and even minor wear can have a significant impact on the price. That's why it's essential to understand the grading scale when assessing your 1973 Lincoln cent. In the grading system, coins are typically ranked from poor to mint state based on their wear and overall appearance. For the 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, a very fine condition coin falls into the VF20 to VF20 to VF35 range. It still retains a high level of detail and sharpness. This is exactly the type of condition that attracts collectors today. Now, let's talk about market value. In today's collector market, the value of a 1973 Lincoln cent in very fine condition can vary depending on factors such as demand, overall condition, and even market trends. As of today, a 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark in very fine condition typically fetches between $200,000. This may seem like a significant increase from its face value. It's important to remember that the collector market is constantly evolving. Interestingly, just a few years ago, these very fine condition coins were barely selling above face value, but as more collectors enter the hobby and focus on building complete date sets of Lincoln cents, the demand for mid-grade condition coins has been on the rise. As a result, we've seen steady price growth for these coins over time. For me, the Lincoln cent series is one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage. Even though the 1973 penny may be rarest, its historical significance and place in a complete set make it a valuable piece for any collector. So, while your 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark may make you rich overnight, coins in very fine condition are especially sought after by those looking to complete their Lincoln cent albums. And who knows? As demand for older Lincoln cents continues to grow, these coins may very well see an increase in market value in the future. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the Lincoln cent series offers a rich history and an accessible entry point into the world of coin collecting. So, if you have a 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark in very fine condition, don't overlook it. It's an important piece of U.S. history that is gaining attention from collectors worldwide. Next up, we're diving deep into a coin that's likely familiar to many of you, the Washington quarter dollar from 1987, specifically the one with the D mint mark. Whether you found one of these in your pocket change or inherited a collection, you might be wondering what this coin is worth in today's market, especially in very fine condition. So let's uncover the history, details, and collector value of the 1987 with D Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This coin quickly became a staple of American currency with its iconic design featuring Washington's profile on the obverse or head side, created by sculptor John Flanagan. On the reverse or tails side, you'll find the American bald eagle, symbolizing freedom and strength. This design remained consistent from 1932 until 1998, after which it was replaced by the state quarters program. The specific quarter we're discussing today, the 1987 with D, was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the wreath on the reverse side of the coin. The Denver Mint produced limited of these quarters, making it a rare coin. Let's talk specifics. The 1987 with D Washington quarter is composed of a copper nickel clad with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a weight of 5.67 grams. The edge is reeded, which is a standard feature of quarters to prevent counterfeiting. The obverse features George Washington facing left, with the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust. The reverse displays the majestic eagle with outstretched wings, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing war and peace. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for, the current market value. While limited of these coins were produced, the condition of your 1987 with D quarter plays a significant role in its value. Today we're focusing on a quarter in very fine condition, which is a grade that indicates light to moderate wear but still retains strong details. In very fine condition, you'll notice that Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers still show clear, albeit slightly worn, details. The rims and inscriptions are intact, though the coin will show some signs of circulation. So, what's it worth? As of today, a 1987 with D Washington quarter in very fine condition typically sells for around $140,000. Yes, that's right. However, the real value comes into play if you have a coin in higher grades, such as extra fine or uncirculated, depending on the market. So, should you hold on to your 1987 with D Washington quarters as an investment? Well, if you're a casual collector or someone who enjoys the hobby, these quarters are a great piece of American history. They're easy to find and are a fantastic starting point for a coin collection. However, in terms of significant investment potential, rare quarters like the 1987 with D are going to make you rich overnight. That said, coin collecting isn't just about the highest value, it's about the stories, depending on the market. So, with D quarter, or one with an interesting error, that's where you might see more value. In summary, the 1987 with D Washington quarter is an uncommon but iconic coin that tells the story of an era in American history. While it might hold substantial monetary value in very fine condition, it's a worthy addition to any collection, especially for those who appreciate the artistry and history of U.S. coinage. Next up, we explore the fascinating world of coin collecting and uncover the hidden gems in your collection. Today, we're going to deep dive into a coin that every collector should know about, the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition. You might be surprised to learn how much value this little coin can hold in today's collector market. Let's get started. Let's rewind to 1946. America had just emerged from World War II, and the country was transitioning back to peace and prosperity. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued producing the iconic wheat penny, a design that had been in circulation since 1909, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse. This design would eventually be replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Cent, but the wheat penny remains a beloved favorite among collectors today. One of the more rare dates in the series is 1946. However, the absence of a mint mark adds an interesting twist. The Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use mint marks on pennies until much later, produced limited of these coins, making them accessible but still valuable, especially in high grades like extra fine. Now, what makes the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition so desirable to collectors? First, Let's take a closer look at the details of the coin. On the obverse side, we see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Extra fine condition means the details on Lincoln's face, such as his cheekbone and jawline, are still clearly defined. There might be some slight wear, but the coin retains most of its sharpness. The date, 1946, should also be clearly visible, with no significant fading. On the reverse, the two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America are still well defined, though there may be minor smoothing of the higher points. The phrase E pluribus unum at the top should be readable and not heavily worn. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the value. The 1946 wheat penny, without a mint mark, may seem rare, but in extra fine condition, it commands significant interest in the collector market. Why? Because coins that have survived more than 75 years with minimal wear are becoming increasingly difficult to find. Today, the market value of a 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition ranges from $500,000. This may seem like a fortune. It's important to remember that the value of coins can fluctuate depending on the market, condition, and demand. There are a few key factors that influence the value of your 1946 wheat penny. First, condition is everything. A coin in extra fine condition will have far more value than one in good or fair condition. The second factor is rarity and high grade. Even though limited of these pennies were minted, finding one that has been well preserved for decades is becoming rarer. Third, the overall demand from collectors plays a significant role. Wheat pennies are always popular, and that steady demand can drive up prices over time. If you're lucky enough to own a 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially in extra fine condition, here are a few tips for getting the most out of your coin collection. Preservation: keep your coin in a protective case to avoid any further wear or damage. Even a small scratch or smudge can lower the coin's value. A verified grade can increase the value of your coin when selling or trading. Stay informed. Follow coin market trends to understand when the best time might be to sell. As the demand for collectible coins fluctuates, so does their value. The 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition may be the rarest coin. It's certainly a valuable addition to any collection. Whether you're holding onto it as a keepsake or looking to sell it on the market, understanding its history, condition, and potential worth is key to maximizing its value. Next up, we're diving into the world of Lincoln cents, specifically the 1970 with D Lincoln 1 cent coin in very fine condition. This small penny may seem ordinary to some, but for coin collectors, it holds some serious value in today's market. Stick around, and we'll explore why this 1970 with D penny could be worth more than you think. Before we get into the market value, let's take a moment to appreciate the history behind the 1970 with D Lincoln cent. The D stands for Denver, which is where this coin was minted. Now, during the 1970s, the United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents, but what makes this specific penny from 1970 interesting? The Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, became a long-running staple of U.S. currency. By the time we reached 1970, this design had been circulating for over 60 years. But what makes the 1970 with D version of this cent stand out is a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Let's take a closer look at the features of this coin. On the obverse, you have the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Below Lincoln's bust, you'll notice the D mint mark, which indicates it was minted in Denver. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, another iconic design that was first introduced in 1959. This 1970 with D penny is made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That copper content gives it that warm, rich color that makes older pennies stand out from modern ones, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. Now, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value, and this particular one is in what's called very fine condition. In the world of coin collecting, very fine means there's slight wear, but overall, the design details remain clear and sharp. In the case of this 1970 with D penny, you'll still see most of Lincoln's facial details, and the lines of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse are still prominent. So why is this little penny from 1970 minted in Denver valuable today? The answer lies in a few key factors: condition, scarcity in certain grades, and collector demand. The 1970 with D Lincoln cent is a rare coin, and finding one in very fine condition, or better, can be big a challenge. Most of these coins circulated heavily, which means they were used in everyday transactions for decades. Finding a coin that's been preserved with minimal wear makes it desirable to collectors. The copper content also plays a role. Older pennies have more copper than modern ones, making them attractive not just to coin collectors but to metal enthusiasts as well. Now, let's talk about the current market value of a 1970 D Lincoln cent in very fine condition. The value can vary depending on the coin's exact state, but generally for a very fine condition coin, you might see it selling anywhere between $220,000. On average, this coin in very fine condition could go for around $250,000. However, if you have a near uncirculated or higher grade version, the value could increase significantly. Some rare variation. If you have a 1970 with D Lincoln cent and you want to know if it could be worth something, the first step is to check its condition. Look for clear, detailed features like Lincoln's hair and the lines of the Lincoln Memorial. Then, get the coin graded by a professional service if you believe it could be worth grading. That will help determine its value more precisely. So there you have it, folks. The 1970 with D Lincoln cent might be small, but it could pack a big punch for collectors today. Whether you're looking to sell or just add to your collection, it's always exciting to find out that your old pocket change could be worth more than face value. Next up, we're diving into the story of the Australia 20 cents 2001 coin in very fine condition, and let me tell you, this little gem is not just a piece of spare change, it could be worth more than you think. Let's take a closer look at this coin and discover what makes it so special in today's collector market. The 20-cent coin from Australia, minted in 2001, carries both a rich history and a beautiful design. Issued by the Royal Australian Mint, this coin is part of the standard decimal currency system, which replaced the pre-decimal coins in 1966. However, the 2001 edition has some interesting factors that set it apart from the usual. First, let's talk about the design. On the obverse of the coin, we have the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the celebrated artist Ian Rank Broadley. This version of the Queen's portrait was used on Australian coins starting in 1998, and it reflects a mature and dignified representation of Her Majesty. Then we have the reverse side of the coin, which features the well-known Australian platypus design created by the Australian sculptor Stuart Devlin. This is one of the most iconic images in Australian coinage. The platypus, with its smooth movement through water, symbolizes the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's a beautiful coin, but how much is it really worth? Well, stick around because that's where things get interesting. One of the key things that can influence the value of a coin like this is how many were minted. In 2001, the Royal Australian Mint produced a not considerable number of 20-cent coins for circulation. However, when we look at the coin in a very fine condition or better, the rarity factor starts to increase. The 20-cent coin is an uncommon circulation coin. Finding one from 2001 in very fine condition means it has been well preserved, with minimal signs of wear. The details on the platypus and Queen's portrait remain crisp and clear, and that's where collectors start to take interest. Now, let's get into the numbers. How much is this coin really worth today? As of today, the collector market value of the 20 cents 2001 coin in very fine condition can vary depending on where and how you sell it. Currently, in the collector's market, the value of this coin in very fine condition can range between $250,000, especially if the coin is part of a smaller set or if it has an exceptionally sharp strike. Okay, so what exactly influences the value of your 2001 Australia 20-cent coin? Here are a few key factors. Condition coins in very fine condition show only light wear and retain most of their original details. The better the condition, the higher the value. This coin is ultra rare. There is a steady demand from collectors who are interested in Australian decimal coins, particularly from the early 2000s. Historical significance. While this coin isn't a special commemorative issue, it represents a part of Australia's rich coinage history, adding to its appeal. Now, if you have a 20 cents 2001 coin in your collection, or you've just found one in your pocket change, and you think it might be in very fine condition, what should you do? Here are a few tips for preserving your coin's value. Handle with care. Always handle your coins by the edges to avoid leaving fingerprints, which can degrade the condition over time. Store properly. Keep your coin in a coin holder or protective case. Avoid exposure to air, moisture, and harsh conditions that can tarnish or corrode the metal. Avoid cleaning. Don't be tempted to clean your coin, even if it looks a little dirty. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce its collector. So there you have it. The Australia 20 cents 2001 coin in very fine condition is not just a piece of change. It could be a valuable addition to your collection. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, it's always worth checking the condition of the coins you come across, because you never know when you might be holding a hidden treasure. Next up, we've got a gem for you, the 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a crucial error, a missing P mint mark. Could this be the hidden treasure you've been searching for? Stick around as we explore its story and unravel its collector market value today. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, has seen many changes over the years. One of its defining features is the image of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, paired with an iconic depiction of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. But what if I told you that a simple missing mint mark could turn this ordinary coin into an extraordinary find? Enter the 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a missing P mint mark, a known error that collectors hunt for in the numismatic world. Mint marks are small letters found on the coin that identify where the coin was produced. In 1984, nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, Philadelphia mint coins would bear the P mint mark, which is located on the reverse of the coin to the right of Monticello. However, due to an error, some coins produced in Philadelphia were mistakenly struck without the P mint mark. This missing mint mark error makes these coins unique and highly sought after in today's collector market. Error coins have long intrigued collectors. Whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or a missing mint mark, these errors increase the coin's rarity and consequently its value. The allure of owning a piece of minting history with a notable mistake drives demand. So what does this mean for the 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the missing P mint mark? The combination of a relatively common coin with an unusual error makes it a prize for collectors today. In the current coin market, value fluctuates based on condition, demand, and rarity. For the 1984 Jefferson nickel with the missing mint mark in very fine condition, prices can range anywhere from $900,000, depending on the buyer and the specific listing. In some cases, coins in mint or uncirculated condition could fetch even higher prices. And here's where it gets even more exciting. The collector market for error coins is growing. With rare coins like this one often being sold, some collectors are willing to pay $1 million for well-preserved examples of this rare minting error. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is key. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state, with very fine being one of the middle grades. Coins in very fine condition show only slight wear on the highest points of the design and retain most of their original details. For the 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the missing P mint mark, a very fine condition example will exhibit clear details in Jefferson's hair and Monticello's structure. This level of preservation adds value to the coin, making it an appealing choice for both seasoned and novice collectors. Collectors love the 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the missing P mint mark for several reasons. Firstly, it's a striking example of how human error can impact the minting process, creating something rare and valuable. Secondly, it stands out among ordinary Jefferson nickels, transforming a seemingly insignificant difference into a collector's dream. The thrill of finding one of these error coins in circulation or owning a piece of minting history that shouldn't exist drives collectors to search for coins like this. Each one tells a story of a brief moment in time when the mint made a mistake, and that mistake became a treasure. You never know when you might come across an error coin in your pocket change. Keep an eye out for unusual features or missing details like mint marks. These are great places to find rare error coins, including the 1984 Jefferson nickel. Plus, you'll meet fellow collectors who can share their knowledge. The 1984 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the missing P mint mark is a shining example of how a big minting error can lead to big value in the collector's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into numismatics, this coin is a fascinating piece of history worth seeking out. If you've got one of these hidden treasures in your collection, you might be holding on to a valuable piece of minting history. Next up, we've got a super exciting episode lined up, and it's all about a coin that many people overlook, the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark. But let me tell you, this little copper gem is getting some serious attention in the collector's market today. You won't believe its value, so stick around. This is the Lincoln 1 cent coin from 1975, and while it might seem like just another penny, there's something special about this one. As you can see, there's no mint mark, and it's in very fine condition. But why is this penny becoming a hot commodity in the collector's market right now? Let's dive into the details. Alright, let's start with a little history. The 1975 Lincoln cent features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who first created this design in 1909. The reverse side, of course, showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a feature that was first introduced in 1959. But what makes the 1975 Lincoln penny stand out? One key factor is that it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it doesn't carry any mint mark. In 1975, the Philadelphia Mint didn't include a mint mark on the pennies they produced, making this coin technically without mint mark, but it's a feature, not a flaw. So now that you know the history behind it, let's talk about condition. This specific coin is graded as being in very fine condition. What does that mean? Well, when a coin is in very fine condition, you can still see most of the details, like Lincoln's features and the lines of the Lincoln Memorial with only minor wear and tear. The details are still crisp enough to be appreciated by collectors, but the coin clearly shows that it's been in circulation. Very fine condition is actually a pretty solid grade for a circulated coin. It means that while it's not in mint or uncirculated condition, it still holds significant value because it's well preserved. If you've got a 1975 Lincoln penny in your collection that's in very fine condition, you're in luck. Now, to the part that everyone's been waiting for, the value. How much is this little 1975 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark worth today? Well, the value of this coin has been trending upward in recent years, and collectors are paying attention. In today's market, a 1975 Lincoln penny without a mint mark in very fine condition can fetch anywhere from $198,000. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's still just a small amount of money, but hear me out. This is where the real value lies for collectors. These coins are widely circulated and many are in poor condition, so finding one that's in very fine condition or better can be quite rare. Talking to coin experts, I've learned that collectors are especially keen on coins that have been well preserved and are in higher grades. So if you've got a 1975 Lincoln penny in even better condition, say, in extra fine or uncirculated condition, its value could increase even more. Now, let's talk about the potential for this coin as an investment. While a single coin might make you rich overnight, coin collecting is a long-term game. As the supply of well-preserved pennies from this era diminishes, their value could increase. After all, coin collecting isn't just about today's value, it's about future potential. Here's a fun fact: did you know that copper prices have also influenced the value of older pennies like this one? The 1975 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Because of the rising cost of copper over the years, the melt value of these older pennies has made them even more appealing to collectors. Of course, melting pennies for their metal content is illegal in the US, but that doesn't stop the demand for copper coins. So if you've got a 1975 Lincoln 1-cent coin without a mint mark sitting around, take a closer look. You might be holding on to a coin that could grow in value as the years go by. And remember, the condition is everything. Coins in very fine condition are becoming increasingly rare, which only drives up their market demand. Next up, we're diving deep into a fascinating coin, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark. You wouldn't believe the value this coin holds in today's collector market, especially in fine condition. If you've got one lying around, you might want to pay attention. Before we get into the details of the value, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter. Introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this quarter has become one of the most iconic coins in American history. The design, featuring the profile of Washington on the obverse, was created by sculptor John Flanagan. The Washington quarter is still in circulation today, but some specific years, like the 1983 quarter, hold special significance for collectors. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1983 quarter without a mint mark so valuable? Let me explain. First, it's important to note that the no mint mark indicates this coin was minted in Philadelphia. In 1983, the U.S. Mint was producing large quantities of quarters for circulation. However, here's where things get interesting. In 1982 and 1983, the U.S. Mint did not produce any uncirculated mint sets for collectors. That means collectors today have a harder time finding well-preserved examples of these quarters in fine condition or higher. As a result, most of the 1983 quarters that are still around were heavily circulated. Finding a well-preserved 1983 quarter in fine condition is becoming increasingly rare, and that scarcity is driving up its value in the collector market. Now, when we say fine condition, we're talking about a coin that still retains some of its original detail but shows signs of wear. The lettering and major features, like Washington's profile, should be clear, but the coin might have some flattening in areas like Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers on the reverse. The reverse of the quarter, which features the heraldic eagle, should also be well defined, though some parts of the design may be worn down from use. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for: the current market value. As of today, a 1983 Washington quarter without a mint mark in fine condition can fetch, depending on the demand and the condition of the specific coin, values can range anywhere from $200,000 for a fine condition coin. Why the big jump in value? Well, because of the aforementioned lack of uncirculated mint sets for 1983, collectors are willing to pay a premium for quarters from this year that have been well preserved. If you're a serious coin collector or someone looking to sell, knowing this can help you understand why your 1983 quarter might be worth more than big pocket change. If you think you have a 1983 quarter in fine or better condition, it's always a good idea to get it graded by a professional. Grading companies can give you a more accurate idea of its condition and value, and having a coin certified can increase its value even further when it comes time to sell. The bottom line is, if you've got a 1983 Washington quarter without a mint mark, don't overlook it. This coin is a prime example of how even a small, seemingly insignificant quarter can carry a hefty price tag in the right market. Next up, we're diving into the iconic wheat penny, specifically the 1947 wheat penny with the D mint mark in very fine condition. Let's find out how much this coin is worth today and what makes it so special. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958 and features a classic design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and wheat ears on the reverse. The D mint mark on this 1947 wheat penny indicates it was minted in Denver. The 1947 wheat penny with a D mint mark is one of the many post-war wheat pennies, and it's a favorite among collectors due to its historical significance and aesthetic appeal. However, not every 1947 with D penny holds the same value, and the condition of the coin plays a huge role. So, what exactly do we mean by very fine condition? Let's break it down quickly. A coin in very fine condition will show moderate wear but still retain sharp details. On the 1947 with D wheat penny, this means Lincoln's hair, cheekbones, and the wheat ears on the reverse will be well defined, though some smoothing will be noticeable in high points. As you can see, coins in very fine condition stand out significantly from more worn examples but fall just short of uncirculated or mint state coins, which are practically untouched by circulation. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. How much is a 1947 with D week penny in very fine condition worth today? Well, let's take a look at the current market. As of today, a 1947 with D week penny in very fine condition typically sells for around $400,000. That might seem like a lot. Keep in mind, the exact value can fluctuate depending on the demand, the precise condition, and even the seller. Of course, like all collectibles, coin values depend on the market. Right now, we're in a steady period where uncommon date wheat pennies, like the 1947 with D, tend to hold highest value in circulated conditions. But if you were to find a higher grade 1947 with D in, say, uncirculated or near mint condition, those prices can go up considerably. So, while very fine condition might yield as high of a return, it still offers a great starting point for collectors looking to expand their wheat penny collection. Now, why would someone collect a 1947 with D wheat penny in very fine condition, especially when its market value is highest? Well, for many collectors, it's about more than just the price tag. The 1947 with D wheat penny represents a piece of American history, minted just a few years after the end of World War II. It's also a key part of completing a full wheat penny collection, which is a challenge many coin collectors love to tackle. And if you're a beginner, the 1947 with D is a great coin to start with because it's affordable yet rich in history. Plus, who knows what the future holds for its value as trends in coin collecting change over time. So, there you have it. The 1947 with D wheat penny in very fine condition may make you rich. It's a fantastic coin to add to your collection and learn about. Next up, we're diving deep into the world of British coins and focusing on a fascinating piece of history, the United Kingdom 10 new pence coin from 1975. What makes this coin special, what condition impacts its value, and how much is it worth today in the collector's market in dollars? Let's break it all down. The 10 new pence coin was part of a major reform in British currency. After the United Kingdom decimalized its currency in 1971, the 10 new pence was introduced to replace the old 2 shillings coin. This coin remained a key part of British currency until it was gradually phased out and replaced by the smaller 10 pence coins starting in 1992. But the 1975 version of the coin remains highly sought after by collectors today. Let's start with the design and specs of this coin. On the obverse or head side, you'll find a striking portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Designed by Arnold Machin, this image was used on most UK coins for several decades and is iconic in the world of numismatics. Surrounding her likeness, you'll see the inscription Elizabeth II DG, Reg FD 1975, the letters standing for Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, or by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Now, on the reverse side, you'll see the image of a crowned lion, one of the traditional symbols of the British monarchy. This design, by artist Christopher Ironside, captures the strength and majesty of the UK in a simple yet elegant image. The words new pence are inscribed above the lion, with the number 10 below. The 10 new pence coin is made of cupronickel, an alloy of copper and nickel, and weighs 11.31 grams with a diameter of 28.5 millimeters. These coins were robust, with a thick, round edge and a solid feel. The 1975 UK 10 new pence coin was minted during an important era in British history. The 1970s was a time of significant change in the UK, with political shifts, economic challenges, and a world adapting to new global dynamics. For collectors, owning a 1975 10 new pence coin isn't just about having a piece of metal, it's about holding a piece of British history from a transitional period that saw the nation redefine its currency system. Now, when it comes to the collector market value of this coin, condition is everything. Numismatists, those who study and collect coins, use a grading system to assess the condition of a coin. The key grades range from poor, fine, and very fine to extremely fine and mint state. A coin in very fine condition, like the 10 new pence 1975 we're discussing today, shows minimal wear from circulation but retains many of its original details. You'll still see sharp, well-defined images, but some light signs of wear on the high points of the coin are expected. As you can see, this coin still has great detail in the lion and Queen Elizabeth's portrait, but there's a slight softness in some of the lines. That's typical for a very fine condition coin. So the big question, what's the collector market value of a United Kingdom 10 new pence coin from 1975 in very fine condition today? As of right now, the value of this coin on the collector's market can vary depending on factors like demand and rarity, but generally speaking, you're looking at a range of $100,000 for a very fine condition coin. Prices can fluctuate. If the coin is in better condition or sold as part of a set, it might go for more. But typically this is the value range that collectors are willing to pay. Now, the 10 new pence 1975 is not considered a rare coin by strict numismatic standards. Limited of these coins were minted, so they're still relatively uncommon. However, as time goes on and more of these coins become damaged, lost, or hoarded, their scarcity will naturally increase. one of the reasons people collect coins like it's still a beautiful coin with historical significance and an important role in the story of British currency. So, there you have it. The United Kingdom 10 new pence coin from 1975 may give you a big money. It's still a valuable piece for collectors who appreciate its design, history, and its place in the evolution of British currency. If you have one in your collection, hold on to it. Who knows what the future might hold for its value. Next up, a special coin that many of you might have come across but never realized its potential value. We're talking about the Monticello Jefferson nickel, specifically the 1960 nickel with the D mint mark in very fine condition, and what makes it even more interesting, a unique greenish shade that adds to its appeal for collectors today. Whether you're just starting your collection or you're a seasoned collector, knowing the value of your coins is essential. So sit back and join us as we dive into this fascinating coin's history, its key features, and its current market value. Let's start by digging into the history behind the Monticello Jefferson nickel. This iconic coin was first introduced in 1938 and has since become a mainstay in American coinage. Designed by Felix Schlag, the nickel prominently features the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse side. On the reverse side, we find the stunning depiction of Jefferson's beloved home, Monticello. Now, the 1960 version of this coin with the D mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint. In that year, over 113 million Jefferson nickels were minted in Denver, which may seem like a large number, but as you'll see, the condition and any unique attributes like the green shade can greatly impact the coin's value. Condition is everything when it comes to coin collecting, and the term very fine refers to a coin that has been circulated but retains many of its details and doesn't show excessive wear. However, what makes this particular 1960 D mint Jefferson nickel stand out is its greenish tint. This green hue can sometimes occur due to the environment the coin was exposed to over the decades. Factors like humidity, temperature, and even the metal content itself can contribute to a coin developing a patina or coloration over time. While not every collector values this, there are many who find it adds uniqueness and history to the coin. So what's the big question? How much is this 1960 D mint Monticello Jefferson nickel worth today, especially in very fine condition with that greenish tint? As of today, a standard 1960 D mint Jefferson nickel in very fine condition is generally valued between $290,000 depending on the collector's interest. However, coins in exceptional conditions, especially those with unique features like the green patina, can fetch $600,000 or even more, depending on the buyer and the market. It can attract specific collectors who value unique pieces, which might push the price higher than expected. The key takeaway here is that these minor details can make your coin stand out in the marketplace. While it's rare for a standard Jefferson nickel to skyrocket in value, there have been some exceptional finds. Next up, we have a special one for you, the Lincoln 1 cent from 1969, specifically the version without a mint mark and in very fine condition. Stick around because we're about to reveal its true collector value in today's market. The Lincoln cent is one of the most recognized coins in the United States. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the years, it has evolved in design and material composition, but its popularity has never waned. In 1969, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, and if you're looking at a 1969 penny in your pocket change, you might not think much of it. However, certain varieties of this coin, particularly those without a mint mark, can be worth a surprising amount in today's collector's market. Let's talk about mint marks. Most U.S. coins feature a small letter indicating where the coin was minted. For example, D would represent Denver, and an S would stand for San Francisco. But if there's no mint mark, it means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint didn't put mint marks on its coins until 1980, so a 1969 penny without a mint mark is a Philadelphia Mint coin. Limited were produced. Some factors make this coin valuable today. The value of any coin, including the 1969 Lincoln cent, largely depends on its condition. Coin collectors use a grading system that ranges from poor to mint state. In between, we have grades like good, fine, very fine, and extra fine. A very fine grade means the coin shows moderate wear, especially on the high points like Lincoln's cheekbone and hair, but much of the finer details are still visible. It's not a pristine coin, but it's certainly better than the average one you might pull out of circulation today. So what makes the 1969 Lincoln cent without a mint mark particularly valuable? Well, limited were minted, not all survived in great condition, and those that are in very fine or higher grades are getting harder to find. In the collector's market, rarity and condition drive value. As more collectors seek higher grade 1969 cents for their collections, prices have steadily increased over time now. The part you've all been waiting for: how much is this coin actually worth? As of today, in the collector's market, a 1969 penny in very fine condition can fetch anywhere between $190,000. However, the price can fluctuate depending on the specific buyer demand and the coin's overall eye appeal. If you have a 1969 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, especially in very fine condition. You might be wondering, should you keep it or sell it? Well, if you're a collector, it's always a good idea to hold on to coins that are steadily gaining value. However, if you're looking to sell, now might be a great time to capitalize on the current interest in Lincoln cents. Next up, we're exploring a specific coin that might just be sitting in your change jar right now but could be worth more than you think. That coin is none other than the Washington quarter dollar. Minted in 1996 with D mint mark in extra fine condition. Let's explore its collector market value in today's market. Stay tuned, because you don't want to miss this. First, let's take a brief look at the history behind the Washington quarter series. Originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this coin series quickly became a staple of American currency. Since then, it's been widely circulated and has gone through several design changes. By the time the 1996 Washington quarter was minted, the design had been in circulation for decades. But today we're focusing on a very specific variation the 1996 quarter produced in the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark. This coin is part of the final stretch of quarters minted before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999, which makes it particularly interesting to collectors. Now, why is condition so important? For coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. In coin grading terms, an extra fine XF condition quarter is one that shows light wear on the high points but retains much of its original detail and luster. This is important because collectors pay top dollar for coins in superior condition. For the 1996 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition, you'll notice that Washington's profile is crisp, with only slight wear on the hair and cheek areas. The eagle on the reverse will still have visible feathers and sharp lines. Now let's get into what everyone wants to know, the current market value. As of today, the 1996 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition holds a unique place in the collector's market. While quarters in lower conditions may only be worth their face value, the story changes dramatically for those in high-grade conditions. If your coin is in extra fine condition, it can typically fetch between $280,000 depending on the buyer, and potentially more in auctions or with collectors who are searching for a specific grade to complete their set. Factors that may influence this value include market demand, rarity in higher grades, and fluctuations in the numismatic community. However, there have been instances where exceptionally preserved quarters graded even higher than XF can bring in significantly more, upwards of $190,000 or more in some cases. So, what does this mean for you as a collector or an investor? The Washington quarter, especially in its 1996 with D variation, is a great way to start small and build a diverse coin collection. Its wide availability makes it accessible, but the condition is key in driving up its value. If you come across one of these in extra fine or better condition, it's definitely worth holding on to or having graded professionally. While it may yet be as rare or valuable as older or more obscure coins, the 1996 with D quarters value can appreciate over time, especially if you manage to find one in top-notch condition. Here's what you should look for when evaluating your 1996 with D Washington quarter. The D mint mark. Make sure the coin has the D mint mark, indicating it was struck in Denver. Condition. Pay close attention to the high points of the design. An extra fine condition quarter will have minimal wear, particularly on Washington's face and the eagle's feathers. Detail preservation. Even in extra fine condition, the details should be well preserved. This includes the intricate lines in the feathers of the eagle and the fine lines on Washington's hair. To sum it up, the 1996 with D Washington quarter dollar in extra fine condition is a great collector's item with a value that can range from $300,000 or more depending on its condition and the market. While it may yet be considered rare, its appeal lies in its condition and collectability. Next up, we're diving into one of the classic coins in American history, the 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark. We'll take a close look at its design, history, and of course the big question. What's it worth in today's collector market, especially in very fine condition? If you're excited about learning more, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more coin content. So, let's kick things off by talking about the 1926 wheat penny itself. This penny is part of the iconic Lincoln wheat cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat penny features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, hence the name wheat penny. The coin we're focusing on today was minted in 1926, and it's worth noting that this specific penny doesn't have a mint mark. That means it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which was responsible for producing the smallest quantity of pennies that year. Limited of these coins were minted in Philadelphia alone. You might be wondering what makes the 1926 wheat penny stand out. Well, while it's not the rarest wheat penny, coins from the 1920s have started to become more sought after in recent years. This is especially true for coins in higher grades, like the very fine condition we're discussing today. Very fine condition means the coin has moderate wear, but you can still see most of the details. The high points, such as Lincoln's cheekbones and jawline, will show some wear, but the overall design is clear, with the wheat stalks on the reverse side still distinct. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What's the value of the 1926 wheat penny in very fine condition on the collector's market today? Well, the value of a coin depends on several factors, including demand, rarity, and condition. For the 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark, the demand has remained relatively steady over the years due to its historical significance and its place in many Lincoln cent collections. In very fine condition, a 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark typically fetches anywhere from $750,000. That might seem like a fortune. Keep in mind that this coin's value has steadily increased over time due to its age and the growing interest in early 20th century American coinage for those just starting out in coin collecting. So what should you be on the lookout for when buying or selling a 1926 wheat penny? First, examine the overall wear on the coin. Check Lincoln's portrait, particularly the jawline and cheekbones, to determine how much detail remains. Next, flip the coin over and look at the wheat stalks on the reverse. If you can still make out individual lines on the wheat ears, that's a good sign. Also be wary of any damage or corrosion. A coin with environmental damage, such as discoloration or pitting, will be worth significantly less than one with clean surfaces. If you're selling, it might be worth getting your coin graded to ensure you get the best possible price. So there you have it, the 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition. While it may give you a handsome amount, it's a fascinating and affordable piece of history to add to your collection. The value of these coins has steadily risen over the day, and who knows what the future holds. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this is one coin that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Next up, we're diving deep into the world of rare coins, particularly one that has been creating some buzz among collectors, the United Arab Emirates 1 Durham coin from 1989. We'll be discussing its history, unique design, why collectors are drawn to it, and what you can expect in terms of its market value today, especially if you own one in very fine condition. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious about coin collecting, make sure to stick around until the end. Before we talk about the value, let's start with a bit of background. The UAE dirham, introduced in 1973, replaced the Qatar and Dubai rial. This currency was adopted by all 7 emirates, and over time, different issues have emerged. The 1989 UAE 1 dirham is particularly fascinating due to its rarity and significance in the world of numismatics. This particular coin is made of a nickel brass composition, featuring a beautiful, intricate design. On the obverse side, you'll find the traditional Arabic script alongside the iconic coffee pot, also known as a dala, which symbolizes hospitality in the UAE. The reverse features the denomination 1 dirham and the year it was minted, written in both the Islamic and Gregorian calendars. It's a coin that holds cultural significance while also representing a modern, growing economy during the late 20th century. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition of the coin is crucial. We're focusing on the 1989 UAE 1 dirham in very fine condition. Now, what exactly does very fine condition mean? Well, a coin in very fine condition shows some signs of wear, especially in the highest points of the design, but most of the details are still well preserved. You can clearly see the coffee pot, the script, and the numerical denominations, although the luster might have faded a bit. Overall, the coin still presents itself quite well and retains much of its aesthetic appeal. Now, let's talk about the current market value. The 1989 UAE 1 dirham is the rarest coin in the world, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to find in very fine or better condition. Its value has grown steadily over the years as collectors around the world seek to complete their UAE coin collections. So, what can you expect to get if you have a 1989 UAE 1 dirham in very fine condition? As of today, prices for this coin typically range from $197,000, depending on factors such as condition, buyer demand, and where it's being sold. Coins in better condition, like extremely fine or uncirculated, can fetch even higher prices. On the other hand, if you're in the market to buy one, be sure to verify the authenticity of the coin. Look for reputable sellers and carefully inspect the images or request more details before making a purchase. Looking ahead, the value of the UAE 1989 1 dirham is expected to continue increasing as these coins become harder to find in high-quality conditions. As the UAE continues to rise on the global stage, interest in its history, culture, and currency will likely follow. For collectors, this means that holding on to rare coins like this could be a wise investment for the future. The 1989 1 dirham from the United Arab Emirates is a coin that's gaining attention for its unique design, cultural significance, and growing rarity. Whether you're a collector or someone with an interest in the UAE's history, this coin is definitely worth keeping an eye on. And remember, the value of coins can change over time, so it's always good to stay updated with market trends. Next up, we're diving into the story behind a particular piece of U.S. currency, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1953, without a mint mark and in very fine condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, stay tuned because we're about to explore the value and rarity of this historic coin. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on how much it could be worth today. Before we jump into the collector's market, let's take a moment to talk about the history behind the Jefferson nickel itself. The Monticello nickel design, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and Monticello Jefferson's iconic estate on the reverse, was introduced in 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, this coin design remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. But what makes the 1953 Jefferson nickel so interesting? Well, for one, this was a post-World War II era coin, minted at a time when the U.S. economy was stabilizing and growing. The coins of the 1950s had slightly different metal compositions than those of the wartime era, where nickels contained a higher amount of silver due to metal shortages. After the war, the composition returned to the standard 75% copper and 25% nickel. The 1953 Jefferson nickel is composed of copper and nickel with a weight of about 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. One of the key things to notice about this particular coin is that it was minted without a mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. If you're examining a 1953 Jefferson nickel, flip it over and check above Monticello on the reverse. If there's no mint mark, it was produced in Philadelphia. And in this case, a Philadelphia minted 1953 nickel is rare by itself, as limited were struck that year. But as with most coins, its condition and rarity and high grades determine its value. Now, we need to talk about grading because that's a huge factor in determining the value of any coin. Coin grading is a system that evaluates the wear and quality of a coin. For the 1953 Jefferson nickel, we're specifically focusing on a coin in very fine condition. So, what does very fine mean in terms of coin grading? In numismatic terms, a coin graded as very fine or VF typically shows moderate wear, but the major details of the design are still clearly visible. On the 1953 nickel, you would notice some wear on Jefferson's cheek and jawline, but the details of his hair and face would still be clear. On the reverse, Monticello's details would have some softening, but the building would still be easily recognizable, with most of the architectural details intact. Now, let's get to the part that everyone's been waiting for: the market value of a 1953 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition. How much is it really worth? As of today, the market value of this coin can vary depending on demand, market trends, and the overall condition of the specific coin in question. For a 1953 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition, you can expect it to be worth somewhere between $390,000. This might sound like a huge number, but keep in mind that this is for a coin that's in the lower grading spectrum. Higher grade examples, especially those in mint state MS conditions, can command much higher prices. For instance, a 1953 Jefferson nickel in mint state could be worth anywhere from $400,000, and even more if it has exceptional luster or sharp strike quality. So, while a VF condition nickel is going to make you a fortune, it's a valuable addition to any collection and a beautiful piece of American history. Now, what about rare variants or error coins? Some Jefferson nickels from the 1950s are known for having certain errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubled dies. While there are no well-known error variants for the 1953 no mint mark nickel, it's always a good idea to inspect any coin closely. Error coins can significantly boost the value of an otherwise ordinary piece. In addition, coins with full steps on the Monticello building are highly sought after by collectors. Full steps refer to the visibility of the steps leading up to Monticello on the reverse of the coin. Because of the way the coins were struck, full steps are often weakly defined or completely worn away, even in higher grade coins. A 1953 nickel with full steps could see its value increase dramatically. So, there you have it, folks, a detailed look at the 1953 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition. While it might not be the most valuable coin out there, it's certainly a piece of history and a great addition to any coin collection. Plus, who knows what kind of rare error or full step variant you might come across. If you're just getting started in coin collecting or already have a few Jefferson nickels in your collection, let me know in the comments below. Have you come across any rare or valuable variants? I'd love to hear about your find. Next up, we're talking about the 1978 Lincoln cent, a coin that on the surface might seem like just another ordinary penny. But as with so many things in coin collecting, it's not just about what's common, it's about condition, rarity, and collector demand. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Before we discuss its value today, let's get some historical context on this coin. The 1978 Lincoln cent is part of the iconic series that began in 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor D. Brenner, the obverse features Lincoln's famous profile. It's a simple yet powerful tribute to one of America's most beloved presidents. On the reverse, up until 2008, the design features the Lincoln Memorial honoring his legacy. When you look closely at the detailing of the memorial, you can even spot the tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside. It's a remarkable touch that adds to the intricacy of this coin. In 1978, there were limited Lincoln cents produced. But what makes your coin special if it doesn't have a mint mark? Well, that means it was minted in Philadelphia, as Philadelphia didn't start adding mint marks to pennies until 2017. Philadelphia is known for producing some of the lowest quantities of U.S. coins, and that was certainly the case with the 1978 Lincoln cent. While limited of these pennies were made, a surprising number have been lost to circulation wear, making higher-grade specimens like those in very fine condition rarer than you might expect. To understand the value of your 1978 Lincoln cent, it's important to know a bit about coin grading. Coin grading is the process of determining a coin's condition or quality of preservation. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 1 being poor and 70 being a flawless mint state. A very fine grade typically falls between 20 and 35 on this scale. For a coin to be considered very fine, it should have moderate wear, but most of the major details of the design must still be clear and sharp. For the 1978 Lincoln cent, this means that while there might be some wear on Lincoln's hair, cheeks, and the memorial's columns, the coin still retains a good amount of detail. Here's what to look for to determine if your coin qualifies as very finey. Lincoln's face, while some wear is noticeable, the main features like the hairline, cheekbones, and jawline should still be defined. Lincoln Memorial, the columns should still be clear, though some of the finer details may be slightly worn. Date and lettering, the date and In God We Trust should be crisp with minimal signs of wear. The coin's eye appeal plays a big role here too. If it still looks good in hand, even with wear, it's more likely to fetch a higher value on the collector market. Now that we know the background and grading, let's talk about what really matters: the current market value of this coin in very fine condition. The value of any coin depends largely on supply and demand. Even though limited of these pennies were minted, collectors today are on the hunt for well-preserved examples. Many 1978 pennies have been lost or damaged over time, which makes high-quality versions, like those in very fine condition, stand out. In recent years, the coin collecting community has seen an increased interest in Lincoln cents. This is partly due to the historical significance of Lincoln, but also because collectors are constantly seeking high-grade examples of uncommon coins to complete their sets. So, how much is your 1978 Lincoln cent without a mint mark worth today? In circulated condition, most 1978 Lincoln cents are worth about their face value of 1 cent. However, in very fine condition, these pennies can sell for anywhere from $188,000 to the right buyer. This might seem like much at first glance. Remember that the value of a coin can change dramatically over time. What's more, if you happen to come across a very fine condition 1978 Lincoln cent in a roll of pennies or at a flea market, it's a great addition to your collection. Why does this coin still hold value? One of the main reasons is that it's part of a larger series that people love to collect. The Lincoln cent has a long and storied history, and many collectors want to own every year and variation, even for seemingly uncommon dates like 1978. Over time, as fewer high-grade examples remain in circulation, the value for those in better condition is likely to rise. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of America's most iconic coins, the Washington quarter. And not just any Washington quarter, we're talking about the 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition. This coin may seem like just another quarter in your pocket, but you may be surprised to learn that it holds significant value in the world of coin collecting today. So, let's get into why this coin is gaining attention and what its market value is today. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932, created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. But what makes the 1971 with D Washington quarter so special, and why should you care about its condition? To answer these questions, we need to start with a bit of history and context. The D mint mark on the Washington quarter indicates that it was minted at the Denver Mint in 1971. During this year, the U.S. Mint was producing limited of coins to meet the increasing demands of the economy. And the Washington quarter was no exception. The Denver Mint alone produced a staggering low Washington quarters in 1971. With such a small mintage, you might wonder how this coin could have any significant collector value. The key to understanding the value lies in the condition of the coin. While limited of these quarters were minted, finding one in extra fine condition, nearly untouched by the wear and tear of circulation, is much rarer. Coins in this grade retain much of their original detail, particularly in the hair and facial features of George Washington, as well as the eagle on the reverse side. For collectors, condition is everything, and extra fine condition can dramatically increase the coin's value. So what exactly is extra fine condition? Coins graded as extra fine, or XF40 to XF45, show light wear on the highest points of the design, but overall retain sharp details and a good amount of their original luster. For the 1971 with D Washington quarter, look closely at George Washington's hair. Coins in extra fine condition will still show defined hair strands, especially near the temples and forehead. Additionally, check the eagle's wings on the reverse side. The feathers should be well defined, though there might be some light wear on the tips of the wings. The overall appearance of the coin should be crisp, with a strong strike and minimal blemishes. Now, let's talk about what everyone's here for: the value of the 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition in today's market. Prices for this coin can vary depending on several factors, including the overall quality, demand from collectors, and market trends. But as of today, let's break down the potential value. In today's, a 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition typically sells for anywhere between $300,000. This may seem like a fortune. That's a significant increase in value. For coins that are graded on the higher end of extra fine condition, however, keep in mind that factors such as a strong luster, minimal blemishes, and eye appeal can push the value even higher. So, what drives the value of this particular coin? First, we have to consider the overall mintage. Limited might seem like a small number, but many of those coins have been lost, damaged, or heavily circulated. Finding one in extra fine condition is becoming more difficult over time. Secondly, the coin's value is also influenced by the popularity of Washington quarters among collectors. The 1971 with D Washington quarter is part of the small series that many collectors are trying to complete. Coins from the 1970s are still relatively not easy to find in circulated condition. Finding one that meets extra fine or higher grading standards makes it a standout piece in any collection. So, is the 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition a good investment? For collectors looking to complete a high-grade set of Washington quarters, or those interested in 20th century coins, this quarter is definitely worth considering. While it might give you a handsome amount overnight, its steady appreciation in value makes it a solid addition to any portfolio of collectible coins. If you come across a 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition at a good price, it could be a smart buy. In conclusion, the 1971 with D Washington quarter in extra fine condition is a great example of how even modern coins can hold significant collector value. While necessarily a rare coin in terms of mintage numbers, its condition and appeal to collectors give it a special place in the market today. If you're lucky enough to own one of these coins, be sure to keep it in good condition and consider having it graded to maximize its value. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic and sought-after pennies in the world of numismatics, the 1934 wheat penny. We'll be taking a close look at this historical gem, especially those without a mint mark, which often come in fine color shades. Stick around to learn why this coin might be worth more than you think in today's collector market. The 1934 wheat penny, part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat Cent series, was minted during a time of recovery in the United States. Just 1 year after the end of the Great Depression's worst period, 1934 represented a new beginning. The wheat penny had already been circulating for over 2 decades, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This coin wasn't just a form of currency, it was a symbol of the American spirit and resilience. The design of the wheat penny features the familiar portrait of President Lincoln on the obverse, and on the reverse, we have the 2 stalks of wheat symbolizing abundance and prosperity. Below, it reads 1 cent United States of America and e pluribus unum, meaning out of many. It's a simple yet powerful design. Now, let's talk about the specifics of the 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark. A coin without a mint mark indicates it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the original home of U.S. coin production. In 1934, limited of these pennies were struck at Philadelphia, making it a relatively rare issue. Here's the thing, just because something is rare means it is valuable. The value of a 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark in today's collector market is influenced by several factors, with condition being one of the biggest. Collectors classify coins by grade, ranging from good G all the way to mint state MS. Today we're focusing on coins in fine condition, which means they show somewhere but still retain strong details. One interesting aspect of collecting these older wheat pennies is the variations in color shades and toning. Over time, copper coins like the 1934 wheat penny can develop a range of natural colors. Due to oxidation and environmental factors, you might find pennies with deep reddish-brown hues, golden tones, or even darker brown shades. Collectors often appreciate these unique colorations because they add character to the coin, and in some cases they can even enhance its value. A beautifully toned fine-condition 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark could fetch a premium, especially if the toning is even and enhances the overall aesthetic appeal of the coin. So what is the value of a 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition today? Let's break it down. A typical 1934 wheat penny in fine condition might be worth anywhere between $300,000, depending on its color, toning, and overall eye appeal. However, if you have a coin with exceptional toning, like deep red or iridescent shades, its value could reach up to $600,000 or more in certain cases. It's always worth having your coin evaluated by a professional numismatist or submitting it for grading if you believe it has unique features. If you're interested in starting or expanding your collection, the 1934 wheat penny is an excellent choice. It's a piece of history, it carries the potential for increased value over time. Plus, the wide range of color shades makes it exciting for collectors who appreciate the uniqueness of each coin. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, the key to success in numismatics is knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. Always look for coins that are in good condition and have interesting characteristics, like unique toning or sharp details. In the world of coin collecting, it's often the biggest treasures that hold the most significance. The 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark is a symbol of American resilience and history, and it remains a popular choice for collectors around the globe. So take a second look at your old coins. You never know if you're holding on to a valuable piece of the past. Next up, we're going to talk about a coin that's both unique and a popular item in the collector's market, the Australia 20 cents coin from 2007. We'll be looking specifically at the coin in extra fine condition and exploring its background, design, and of course its current market value in dollars. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The Australian 20-cent coin is a staple in the country's currency, introduced in 1966 when Australia switched from pounds, shillings, and pence to the decimal system. It has been in continuous circulation ever since, making it a common coin found in everyday transactions. The 2007 edition we're focusing on today belongs to the standard circulation series. However, just because it was a common circulation coin doesn't mean it can't hold significant value for collectors, especially when it's in extra fine condition. The coin features a striking design with iconic Australian imagery. The reverse side showcases an engraving of a platypus, one of Australia's most unique and beloved animals, designed by the talented Stuart Devlin, who was also responsible for many of the country's coin designs. Next, let's talk about the condition of the coin. When we say extra fine, what does that really mean? Coin grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. In numismatics, the condition of a coin is one of the most critical factors. An extra fine condition coin is a coin that shows only slight wear on the highest points of the design. For the 2007 Australia 20 cents coin, this means that the intricate details of the platypus on the reverse side should still be sharp, with minimal loss of detail. The wear might be visible but limited to light rubbing in areas like the platypus's body and face, while most of the finer details remain intact. The obverse, featuring a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley, should also show crisp detail with minimal signs of circulation. Now, an extra fine coin is as valuable as, say, an uncirculated or mint state coin, but it does command a premium over coins that have seen heavier wear and tear. For a collector, owning a coin in extra fine condition means they have something that retains much of its original beauty while still being a piece of history that was actually used. Now that we have a solid understanding of the coin's background and condition, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for: its market value today. As of now, the 2007 Australia 20 cents coin in extra fine condition is gaining attention in the collector's market, though it is a coin that is necessarily rare or scarce. Its value is not primarily driven by rarity, but rather by its condition and appeal to collectors of modern Australian coins. In today's market, a 2007 Australia 20 cents coin in extra fine condition typically sells for around $200,000. That might sound like a huge sum, but keep in mind that this is an uncommon coin, and for such coins, particularly for collectors looking to complete their sets in high-quality condition, this value can fluctuate depending on market demand, the presence of specific buyers, and any future shifts in the coin's popularity. If you're looking to sell or trade, it's always a good idea to keep an eye on market trends. Additionally, if the coin has been stored well over the years and hasn't suffered from environmental damage such as corrosion or scratches, it may fetch a higher price. While the jump from $220,000 might make headlines for collectors focused on modern coinage, especially from Australia, this coin adds notable value to their collections. You might be wondering, why collect this coin if its value is sky high? Well, here are a few reasons. The design of the platypus is an iconic representation of Australian wildlife, making it an attractive coin for those interested in nature-themed coin collections. As a 2007 coin, it represents a piece of Australian history from the early 21st century. Although it may not be ancient, it's part of modern numismatic history. With a relatively low cost, the 2007 Australia 20 cents coin in extra fine condition is an excellent entry point for beginners who want to start their collection with breaking the bank. While the value might be extremely high today, holding on to this coin could prove profitable over time, especially if demand for Australian decimal coins increases among collectors. Here are a few tips for those looking to collect or invest in coins like the Australia 20 cents from 2007. Always store your coins in a dry, cool place to avoid damage. Coin holders, albums, or cases are great options for keeping your coins safe from scratches and environmental exposure. Keep track of the latest trends in coin collecting. Prices fluctuate, and understanding the market can help you decide when to buy or sell your coins. Next up, uncovering hidden treasures and revealing the fascinating history behind each coin. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on our latest coin collecting content. we're taking a closer look at a well-known yet often overlooked coin, the 1980 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark. This seemingly ordinary coin carries a rich history, and as you'll soon find out, its value in the collector's market today might surprise you. Let's start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, replaced the Buffalo nickel, featuring a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse or front side and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin has been a staple in American currency for over 80 years. The coin we're focusing on today, the 1980 Jefferson nickel, is from the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the P mint mark on the coin's obverse, just to the right of Jefferson's profile. So what makes this particular nickel stand out? The 1980 with P Jefferson nickel was struck in large quantities. Over 593 million coins were minted that year. The coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy, which gives it that familiar silvery appearance. However, when it comes to coins, it's all about the details. For this video, we're focusing on a coin in very fine condition, a grade that indicates moderate wear, but with most details still clear and For example, you'd still see Jefferson's hair and some of the finer details on Monticello, although they may be slightly worn. When evaluating the value of a coin like the 1980 with P Jefferson nickel, several factors come into play. These include rarity. While 1980 with P nickels are necessarily rare, finding one in high grades, such as uncirculated or proof conditions, can significantly increase its value. Demand. Popularity in the collector market can drive up prices. Even a coin that was once common can see its value soar if interest spikes, either due to historical significance or changes in collecting trend. Now, let's get to the big question: what's the 1980 with P Jefferson nickel worth today in the collector's market, especially in very fine condition? As of this year, in today, the market value for a very fine condition 1980 P nickel typically ranges between $250,000. That's right, although the coin is. If you happen to come across a 1980 with P nickel with a significant error, don't rush to spend it. Next up, uncovering the fascinating history and collector value of a special Lincoln penny, the 1963 1-cent coin with D mint mark in very fine condition. But that's not all. This particular coin has a unique black shade that makes it stand out from the crowd. Could this be the next big thing in the collector market? Stick around as we reveal how much this coin could be worth today and why collectors are buzzing about it. Before we dive into the market value of the 1963 Lincoln cent, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the years, the design has become iconic, and the penny has undergone several changes, including shifts in composition and mint marks that indicate where they were produced. The coin we're discussing today, the 1963 Lincoln cent with the D mint mark, was struck at the Denver Mint. Limited of these coins were minted that year, which might lead you to think they're uncommon. However, what makes certain versions of this coin stand out is their condition, rarity, and intriguing variations, like the black shading we're focusing on. So what's up with the black shade? Well, this unusual coloring isn't typically due to an error in the minting process. Instead, it's usually the result of environmental factors like oxidation or exposure to chemicals. However, in some cases, collectors find these blackened coins aesthetically appealing. While some collectors might view the black shade as damage, others see it as a charming variation that adds character to the coin. If the blackening is uniform and doesn't detract from the detail, it could even enhance the coin's value, especially if it's in very fine condition like the one we're looking at today. Now, let's talk about grading. The condition of a coin can significantly impact its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state MS, and a very fine grade sits about halfway up that scale. A coin graded as very fine shows moderate wear but still has a good amount of detail. For a 1963 Lincoln cent, especially one with a black shade, very fine condition means the coin has been well preserved. Despite its age, you can still clearly see Lincoln's facial details, the sharpness of the lettering, and some of the original mint luster may still be visible. This level of preservation makes it more desirable to collectors who are looking for historical pieces that also hold up well over time. Alright, now for the moment you've all been waiting for: how much is a 1963 Lincoln cent with D mint mark in very fine condition worth today, especially one with that black shade? Typically, a regular 1963 with D penny in very fine condition might be valued at around $370,000. But hold on. Things get a bit more interesting when you factor in the black shade and the coin's appeal to niche collectors. For collectors who are particularly drawn to coins with unique colorations or who specialize in toned coins, the black shade can add a premium. While exact figures depend on the individual buyer, coins with distinctive appearances like this one can fetch anywhere from $390,000 even more. So, if you've got one of these blackened 1963 pennies, it might be worth holding on to or even getting it graded by a professional service to determine its true market value. At the end of the day, the value of a coin like this depends on who's buying and how rare or unique your coin truly is. While a regular 1963 with D penny might seem valuable at first glance, adding elements like the black shade and a well-preserved condition can make all the difference to the right collector. Coins like these are a perfect example of how even small details can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. Next up, we're taking a deep dive into a coin that might be in your pocket change right now, but its value on the collector's market will surprise you. That's right, we're talking about the Washington quarter dollar from 1994 with the P mint mark in very fine condition. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a quarter, right? Well, there's more to this coin than meets the eye, so make sure you stick around. First, let's talk about the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Initially, the coin was designed by John Flanagan, whose iconic portrait of George Washington graces the obverse or front of the coin. The reverse design features an American eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol of strength and resilience. Over the years, the Washington quarter became one of the most rarely circulated coins in the United States. However, in 1965, the composition of the coin changed. Originally made of 90% silver, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel alloy to reduce costs. The 1994 Washington quarter continued with this copper-nickel composition, but certain features make the P mint mark version in very fine condition particularly interesting to collectors. So what exactly is the P mint mark, and why does it matter? The P mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is one of the primary mints for U.S. coins, but before 1980, the Philadelphia Mint didn't even include a mint mark on their quarter. That changed in 1980 when the P mint mark started appearing on quarter. For the 1994 Washington quarter, the P mint mark adds an extra layer of collectability, especially when the coin is in very fine condition. In very fine condition, the coin retains most of its original design with only slight wear on the high points. This makes it a sought-after piece among collectors who are looking for coins that have been well preserved over the years. Now, let's talk about the big question: what's the value of this coin today? In very fine condition, the 1994 Washington quarter with the P mint mark has seen a steady increase in collector interest. Well-preserved specimens can fetch much higher prices. In today's collector market, a 1994 quarter with the P mint mark in very fine condition could be valued anywhere from $120,000, depending on the demand and the quality of the coin. While this might sound like a fortune, it's a significant increase from the coin's original face value. But here's the kicker: coins that are in even better condition, like extra fine or uncirculated, can go for even more. And if you have an error coin from this year, you might be sitting on a treasure. So, what's the takeaway from today's video? Well, even everyday coins like the Washington quarter can hold unexpected value for collectors. The 1994 quarter with the P mint mark in very fine condition is a great example of how preservation and mint marks can add to a coin's appeal. While this coin might make you rich overnight, it's a perfect example of how knowledge of coin conditions and mint marks can help you identify hidden gems in your pocket change. So next time you get a quarter in your change, take a closer look. You never know what you might find. And remember, the value of a coin can fluctuate depending on the market, so keeping your collection in the best possible condition is always key. Next up, we're talking about the Lincoln 1 cent 1982 without the mint mark. In this video, we'll explore the history of this coin, its significance in the numismatic world, and most importantly, its current collector market value in dollars. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, you won't want to miss this. Before we jump into the market value, let's first talk about the history of the 1982 Lincoln cent. The year 1982 was a pivotal one for the U.S. Mint. This was the year they transitioned from making pennies primarily out of copper to using a zinc core with a thin copper plating. This was done to reduce the cost of producing pennies, as the price of copper had been steadily rising. As a result, there are actually two different types of 1982 pennies, those made of copper and those made of zinc. The copper coins weigh about 3.11 grams, while the zinc coins are lighter, weighing only 2.5 grams. What makes the 1982 penny without a mint mark so interesting is its scarcity and its place within this transitional period in minting history. Now, you might be wondering, what's the deal with the lack of a mint mark? Well, the absence of a mint mark typically indicates that the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. There's still significant interest in these no mint mark Philadelphia coins, especially from 1982. However, as we move deeper into the coin's value, one thing you should pay attention to is the condition of the coin. For example, a coin graded as being in very fine condition, which is what we'll be focusing on today, has only light to moderate wear on the high points, with most of the original details still visible. So what exactly does very fine mean in the world of coin collecting? Well, coins in very fine condition show significant wear, but they retain much of the original detail. In this case, for a 1982 Lincoln cent, without a mint mark, you'll see noticeable but not severe flattening on Lincoln's portrait, especially on the hair and beard, as well as on the lettering and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. The coin may also have some slight discoloration or toning from being in circulation, but overall, it still has a nice eye appeal and can fetch a decent price in the market. In the world of coin grading, condition is everything. A very fine 1982 Lincoln cent without a mint mark might like it would have much value, but you might be surprised. While these coins are typically worth millions of dollars, so let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. What's this coin worth today? The value of a 1982 Lincoln cent without a mint mark in very fine condition can vary based on factors like demand and the general state of the numismatic market. But as of today, the average value for this particular coin in very fine condition ranges between. While this might seem like a massive amount at first glance, remember that this is for a single penny that was in regular circulation. The value can increase significantly if you have a large collection of them, or if the coin is in an even better condition, like extra fine or uncirculated. However, the true value of your coin may increase depending on specific varieties and errors that occurred during minting in 1982. So if you're planning to sell or buy, make sure to thoroughly inspect your coin and consult a professional grader if necessary. Another important factor that can influence the price is the fluctuation of the metals market. As copper prices rise, the intrinsic value of the copper-based 1982 pennies also increases, which might give them an edge over their zinc counterparts in terms of collector interest. So why should you care about the 1982 Lincoln cent without a mint mark? Well, for one, it's an excellent entry point for new collectors. These coins are relatively easy to find, affordable, and have an interesting story behind them due to the minting transition. Plus, over time, as the supply dwindles and the demand rises, these coins could see a substantial increase in value. So, there you have it. The Lincoln 1 cent 1982 without a mint mark is more than just another penny in your pocket. Its historical significance, combined with its collectible value today, makes it a fascinating coin to add to your collection. Whether you're holding on to it for sentimental reasons or hoping to see its value rise over time, this coin is definitely worth paying attention to. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of numismatic history, the 1955 wheat penny with the D mint mark in very fine condition. What makes this particular penny special? Well, it's the combination of its condition and a unique black shade that gives this coin a unique appearance. Plus, we'll explore its collector market value today, so stay tuned as we uncover the secrets behind this coin. The wheat penny series is iconic in U.S. coinage, first minted in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse design featuring 2 wheat ears was used until 1958, making the 1955 series one of the last few years of this popular penny. Today we're specifically talking about the 1955 wheat penny that was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. These coins were made in small numbers. The condition and rare shades can set them apart. Coin type wheat penny, year 1955, mint mark D Denver, material 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, design front Lincoln's portrait. Back now, let's talk about what makes this coin stand out. Firstly, the D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was minted in Denver. The coin is relatively uncommon, its value jumps significantly when found in higher grades like very fine. But today we're also looking at a special black shade on this 1955 wheat penny. The blackened appearance isn't something originally intended by the U.S. Mint, but it can occur due to environmental factors, such as oxidation or exposure to certain elements over time. Collectors refer to these as toned coins, and some of these black shaded coins are highly sought after depending on how well the toning enhances the coin's visual appeal. A well-toned coin can exhibit a range of shades from deep reds and blues to blacks and browns. This black tone gives the penny a unique aesthetic and can set it apart from others, making it a rare find in the world of numismatics. While toning often results from exposure to chemicals or long-term storage in particular conditions, collectors treasure these coins because no two-toned coins are exactly alike. When we talk about coin grading, it's all about the state of preservation of the coin. For wheat pennies and coins in general, this is classified using a standardized scale ranging from poor to mint state. Today, we're focusing on the grade very fine. A very fine VF coin means it has moderate wear but retains most of the coin's major features. On this 1955 D penny, for example, Lincoln's cheek and jawline will show signs of wear. But much of the fine detail in his hair and the lettering around the edges should still be visible. The wheat ears on the reverse should still show detail, though there may be some flattening from circulation. Despite the wear, the overall appearance is appealing, especially when it retains some of its original mint luster. In a black shaded very fine condition, the penny's value will significantly increase depending on how distinct the details are and how well the black toning has been preserved. Now let's talk about the part that everyone's interested in, the market value of this unique 1955 with D wheat penny today. In general, a 1955 wheat penny from Denver in very fine condition can range from $300,000 in value. However, when you introduce black toning into the equation, the value can jump significantly depending on demand and the aesthetic appeal of the coin. For black shaded examples of the 1955 with D penny in very fine condition, we're seeing prices in the range of $400,000, depending on how much the toning enhances the look of the coin. In some cases, highly desirable examples can fetch even higher prices, especially in auctions or with collectors who specifically seek out toned coins. Toned coins can sometimes ignite bidding wars among collectors, especially if the toning is uniform and striking. The rarity of such coins ensures that they will always have a place in the hearts of collectors and numismatists alike. So, there you have it. The 1955 with D wheat penny with black toning is a fascinating example of how environmental factors and condition can create a unique collectible. Its market value, though typically highest, can rise depending on the demand for such distinct coins. Next up, we're diving into a truly special piece of Australian numismatic history, the 2005 Australia 50 cents coin, commemorating the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. Not only does this coin capture an incredible moment in history, but in today's collector market, it's gaining significant value, especially in extra fine condition, so stick around as we explore the details and market worth of this collectible gem. Before we jump into the coin's value, let's first understand why it was minted. In 2005, Australia honored the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II with a beautiful 50-cent coin. This coin was more than just currency, it was a tribute to the brave men and women who served, sacrificed, and triumphed during one of the most significant conflicts in modern history. The design of this coin reflects the deep respect Australia holds for its war veterans and the peace they helped achieve. The reverse of the coin features a striking design of a dove with an olive branch, a universal symbol of peace. Surrounding the dove are the inscriptions 60th anniversary end of World War II and the dates 1939 to 1945 alongside Australia at the top and 50 cents below. This imagery is powerful, reminding us of the peace that was hard won after years of conflict. Now let's talk about the specifics of the coin. This 50-cent piece is made from copper-nickel, which is an alloy of copper and nickel. It weighs 15.55 grams and has a diameter of 31.65 mm, with a dotagon shape that gives it a distinct appearance in the world of coinage. Its iconic 12-sided shape not only makes it easily recognizable but also sets it apart from many other world coins. And of course, the obverse features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, which was designed by Ian Rank Broadley. When it comes to valuing coins, condition is everything. Grading ranges from heavily circulated coins, which may show considerable wear, to pristine, uncirculated examples that look almost fresh from the mint. For the 2005 Australia 50-cent 60th anniversary end of World War II coin, extra fine condition refers to a coin that has seen minimal circulation. The coin retains most of its original details, with sharp features and just a touch of light wear that can only be seen under close inspection. In extra fine condition, this coin's historical appeal is beautifully preserved, with its intricate details clearly visible. It's a grade that makes this coin highly desirable for collectors who are passionate about both numismatics and history. Now, let's get into the exciting part, the market value of this coin today. In 2024, the collector market for the Australia 50 cent 60th anniversary end of World War II coin has been steadily growing. This is particularly true for coins in extra fine condition. Thanks to its limited mintage, historical significance, and unique design, this coin is becoming more and more valuable as time goes on. As of today, in the extra fine condition, this coin typically fetches between $250,000. Prices can go even higher if the coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition. However, we've seen examples of auctions where this coin has sold for much more due to high demand and competition among collectors. Coins with original mint luster and flawless details can command premium prices, and this trend is likely to continue as collectors worldwide recognize the coin's significance. But what makes this coin so appealing to collectors? Well, it's a combination of factors. First, its historical significance resonates deeply with collectors who appreciate coins that mark pivotal moments in global history. Second, the design is stunning, featuring powerful imagery that symbolizes peace after one of the darkest periods in modern history. And finally, its unique 12-sided shape gives it a distinctive place in any collection. So, what does the future hold for this coin's value? If trends continue, we can expect the Australia 50 cent 60th anniversary end of World War II coin to appreciate in value. Coins in extra fine condition, like the one we've highlighted today, are likely to become even more desirable as fewer high-quality examples remain available on the market. If you're a collector or investor, this is a coin to watch closely in the coming years. Next up, we're talking about a piece of American history that many collectors are chasing, the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially in very fine condition. Could this penny hiding in your collection be worth more than you think? Let's find out. The 1942 wheat penny might look like just another old cent to the untrained eye, but there's a lot of history and potential value packed into this small piece of copper. First, let's talk about the history. The 1942 wheat penny was produced during World War II, a time when copper was in high demand due to the war effort. While the penny continued to be struck in copper, the war had an impact on the composition of coins in the following years, leading to the famous 1943 steel pennies. The penny itself features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front side of the coin, which has been a staple of the penny since 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic wheat ears that give the coin its name wheat penny. This design remained in use until 1958, making these pennies a favorite among collectors. So what makes the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark special? The absence of a mint mark indicates that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Philadelphia was the main mint at the time, and didn't include mint marks on most of its coins. While this might seem like a small detail, it plays a big role in the coin's desirability, especially for collectors trying to complete sets of Lincoln cents from different mints. Now let's talk about the condition specifically. What makes a 1942 wheat penny very fine in coin collecting? The condition of a coin is a key factor in determining its value. Grading a coin can be subjective, but the Sheldon scale is the standard most collectors use. The very fine VF grade sits around 20 to 35 on the scale, which means this penny has seen some circulation, but still retains a decent amount of detail. For a very fine 1942 wheat penny, you'll see light wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, but the details in his hair and the wheat ears will still be well defined. In very fine condition, this coin is still sharp enough to stand out but has that age charm collectors love. The wear is consistent but not overwhelming, and the surfaces are free from major scratches, dents, or stains. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, the market value. How much can a 1942 wheat penny in very fine condition fetch in today's collector market? It may surprise you, but the value of this coin depends on a variety of factors, such as demand among collectors, the coin's historical significance, and the specific condition of your penny. As of today, a 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition typically sells for around $390,000, however, if you have a particularly well-preserved example. Or if you're selling through that draws attention from serious collectors, prices can reach higher, especially if they have unique toning or other characteristics that appeal to specialized collectors. Now, while that might seem like a fortune, it's important to remember that pennies like this are often found in small quantities. Don't forget, coins in higher grades like extremely fine or mint state can be worth significantly more. So if you're checking through your penny jars or coin collections, be sure to look carefully at the details. Sometimes what seems like a small anomaly can make a huge difference in value. So there you have it, the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially in very fine condition, is a fascinating and accessible piece of history that could be sitting in your pocket change right now. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, these pennies hold historical significance and add value to any collection. Next up, we're focusing on one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln 1-cent penny. But not just any penny today, we're talking specifically about the 1961 Lincoln 1 cent with D mint mark in very fine condition. So why the excitement over the 1961 with D penny? What makes this little coin from Denver so special, and why does it have a growing demand in the collector market today? Let's find out together. First, let's take a trip back in time. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, commemorating the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design, created by Victor David Brent, has remained largely the same since its debut, making it one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history. In 1961, the U.S. Mint produced low of pennies both at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Denver mint coins were marked with a D indicating their origin. Coins struck in Denver, like our 1961 with D penny, were produced in lowest numbers, approximately limited of them. That's right, limited. So with such high low, you might be wondering, why would a coin like this be valuable? Well, that's where things get interesting. While limited of these coins were produced, the key to value is condition, rarity, and high grades, and a growing demand from collectors. The 1961 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition, like the one we're showcasing today, holds significant value, especially for collectors who are looking to complete their sets or who specialize in Lincoln pennies. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A penny graded as very fine means it has light wear on the highest points but still retains much of its original design detail. It's not as pristine as uncirculated, but it's still a desirable grade for collectors who appreciate coins that show a bit of their age while still maintaining solid detail. Now let's talk dollars. While the face value of this coin is just 1 cent, its worth to collectors is far greater. The 1961 D Lincoln cent in very fine condition typically sells for around $370,000 in today's market. But here's the kicker: the value can increase depending on the buyer, the coin's overall eye appeal, and even how the market trends shift over time. You may see these coins listed for anywhere from $390,000 depending on the circumstances. And let's not forget, if you find a particularly well-preserved example, say in extra fine or even uncirculated condition, the value can go up significantly, sometimes reaching several dollars, especially for higher grade coins. But why do collectors love the 1961 with D penny so much? Beyond its historical significance, this coin is part of the beloved Lincoln series, which attracts both beginner and seasoned collectors alike. For many, Lincoln pennies serve as a nostalgic reminder of their first foray into coin collecting. Plus, assembling a complete collection of Lincoln cents, including mint marks and special editions, is a goal many collectors strive to achieve. Adding a 1961 with D penny in very fine condition to your collection is a great way to build your set of Lincoln cents, whether you're a beginner collector or a seasoned numismatist. It may not be the rarest coin out there, but its value in completing a set and its historical connection make it a piece worth holding on to. So, if you're looking to find a 1961 with D penny in very fine condition, here are a few tips. Check your change. You never know, old pennies can still be found in circulation, so keep an eye out in your pocket change. Visit coin shops. Many coin shops carry rolls of pennies from different years. Ask to see their inventory for 1961 with D pennies. Coin shows and conventions. Attend local coin shows where dealers often bring a wide selection of coins, including pennies from the Lincoln set. Make sure to invest in a good magnifying glass to inspect your coins closely, and always store them properly to prevent further wear or damage. A coin's condition can make all the difference in its value. So, there you have it, the 1961 with D Lincoln 1-cent penny. It may be small in size, but it carries a big history and holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Whether you're searching through your change, buying from a shop, or bidding online, this penny could add great value to your collection. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.